We see two men as they watch a report on mutants and decide to open an investigation. The next day, as the paper is delivered, Xavier reads of how humanity discovers mutants. Seeing the FBI open a case, he decides to head for Washington. Choosing to end his self-imposed exile, he remembers the incident with his brother in Korea which caused it as he descends a special elevator. Taking a helicopter, he heads to the FBI office when he is stopped by the guards outside. Using his mental powers on them, he makes them forget about him as he enters the building and does the same with everyone inside. On a separate floor, the two men from earlier are watching a video. On the video, they see a crate from a crane break when they notice a young man reaching for his glasses. A bright red beam destroys the crate, and the crowd is frightened and begin hunting for the mutant. The tape finishes, and they see the boy might be innocent when Xavier enters the room and they ask how he got past the guards. Agent Bill tries to wheel Xavier out, but can't when Fred realizes that he's a mutant and draws his gun. He tries to fire a warning shot to alert the guards, but can't pull the trigger. Charles tells them he wants to help track down mutants, as they would trust him. They agree with him, as they aren't sure how to approach the mutants, and share the info they have with him, as he promises to keep in touch. The crowd begins to hunt for Scott while he flees after saving them. He ducks into an alley as the mob run past him. Knowing he must have been filmed, he realizes he can't return to the orphanage and hops on a train outside town. Miles away, Agent Duncan delivers some files to Charles, who notes the name Scott Summers, and Fred calls the orphanage to set up a meeting, when they learn he's disappeared. Fred starts a search, while Xavier chooses to visit Scott's eye doctor. The optometrist remembers Summers from his glowing eyes and how ruby quartz lenses fixed his headaches. Xavier is worried though, as he is unable to mentally locate Scott. We swap to see Summers as he hops off the train and walks in on a group of people who invite him to sit down. One of the men though decides to rob him, and the others join in and hold him down. Just then, the cops appear and chase the vagrants off. Seeing that Scott matches the profile of a missing kid, they take his glasses off to get a better look at him when he blasts the ground around him. The cops run as Scott searches for his glasses. Finding them, he runs away and stumbles upon a shack when he feels the urge to enter. Hesitating but unable to resist, he enters to find a man claiming to be a mutant. The man introduces himself as Jack Winters when he tells Scott he's a mutant and that he knows what happened in the Capitol. Scott asks if his powers are mental when Jack senses someone coming. He tells Summers that it's the police when he reaches out and Scott feels himself disappearing. Jack then does the same to himself, and when the cops enter, they find it empty. Meanwhile, at Xavier's mansion, Charles manages to locate the young orphan when he sees there's another mutant. Homing in on the signal, they quickly disappear, surprising Charles. Hours later, Scott and Jack appear in a nuclear power plant, and Scott wants to know why they're there, but is told he asks too many questions. Scott says he won't do anything illegal when Jack tells him he used to work there when he tried stealing stuff. He says the flasks he tried picking up exploded, hospitalizing him for weeks. Shortly later, he realized he could read minds, and he starts taking his gloves off in front of Scott. His hands have been turned into pure diamonds. He cuts a steel beam as he calls himself Jack of Diamonds. Scott sees the man is insane when Jack feels a powerful mind approaching. They see Xavier, and Jack yells at Scott to blast him, but he refuses to become a killer. Swearing to kill him himself, Jack charges at Charles, whose mental bolts are useless and he is now defenseless.